My name is Carl Lumsden. I'm an agency lead here in Ireland. I'm looking after the breakfast briefing with my colleague Lindy, which you hopefully would have seen up here on stage before. June 1st, halfway. We're halfway there. Who can believe it? What a few months, what a few weeks it's been. We've had a referendum. We've had a little thing called GDPR drop. As predicted, Liverpool lost in the Champions League final. So it's been a whirlwind few weeks. We had Tech Connect on up in the RDS as well. I'm sure some of you got up there as well. So it's been busy for all of us. It's been a manic time. So I think it's a really good time for us now to kind of take stock halfway through the year and probably go back to one of our most fundamental principles at this time, which is mobile, of course. It's been a really long journey. It's been something that we've been talking about for a really long time and kind of preaching about how important it is for Irish businesses. So as I said, I think it's really important now that we kind of take stock of how far we've come with mobile and start looking ahead and what's it going to mean for our business. There are some significant changes coming about. I'm sure some of you will know as well in July in terms of how we actually for organic listings, rank listings as well. So page speed is going to be, for the first time ever for organic listings, going to be an important factor for where your website can show up. And that's really putting it back down to the user experience. We feel that it's come to such a point now where we have to acknowledge that that page speed is a massive factor in terms of user satisfaction with websites. So it's for those reasons that we're making those changes. It's also for those reasons that I'm delighted that we have Conor McGann with us today, and he's going to be talking to us about the future of the mobile web. So Conor is part of our mobile transformation team. I've worked with Conor for the last number of years, actually. Our MTT team, as it's known for in short, pretty much goes out. Conor works with our largest brands, some of our largest media agencies, to guide them, I suppose, on their media strategy, specifically with mobile going forward. He's actually flying out to LA in about 3 hours' time after this as well to go do some of the same work out with advertisers in LA. So extra kudos, Conor, for joining us this morning. Appreciate it. So without further ado, I'll join you guys back on stage again for the Q&A. But without further ado, I'll hand it over to Conor now to take you through the mobile piece. Thanks, Conor.
Thanks, Carl, for the warm welcome. Welcome to the Foundry. My name's Conor, and I'm here to talk to you about the future of the mobile web. Right? That sounds like that's a big one, right? Everyone wants to know what's happening. But there's a few things I want to cover first. Carl mentioned I work as part of the mobile transformation team, and really, what does that do? I'm looking here to enable mobile growth. I'm looking to transform businesses for the future. Future-proofing them with all the technologies, the site speed that they need, and the user experience that the customers are after. Feel free to tweet me. I know a lot of people ask me afterwards events, where's your voice? I never knew what that meant. But I'm talking to lots of big brands like Carl mentioned, and it's nice to continue these conversations. People who are curious, and I can always share content there. And feel free to find me on LinkedIn. So this is my role. This is my day in, day out. What I do, I make mobile websites faster and easier to use and frictionless. And I think a lot of people in this room would know what frictionless means, but I'm not sure how many businesses are doing this just now. And that's what delights users. That's what makes them come back, right? I talk to my partner, and she online shops all the time. I'm more a research online person and purchasing offline. And I see all these deliveries arrive in the bedroom, and I'm like, what's this? And she's like, oh, it's just dangerous website, you know that? I was like, where did this come from? She's like, ASOS. And I was like, why did you buy? You're trying to save. What's going on? She just said, it's just so easy to buy. And that came from a finger touch print. That's how she's able to purchase now and know when items are out of stock. So these are people who are doing great experiences. So what I cover is performance audits and speed. So people are capturing the intent from search. Looking at accelerated mobile pages, which is a turnkey solution for performance if your website's not loading fast enough. And in this day and age, it's an instant load experience people expect. User experience, so looking at A/B testing, best practices. How do we know it's working with our customers? Have we even asked them? Do we even A/B test? I think it looks great. A lot of the time, it's a business owner who says, I think it's a brilliant website that hasn't been updated in maybe 5 years. And these are things that we need to question and find the answers for from our customer. So the insights and reporting, I'll share a lot of tools today that you can use as well for your business. So it's very practical. And then touch upon some of the future progressive web app, definitely, and identity and payments. Cool, so this is not my first time on stage. I actually happened to be at the inaugural event of Dublin Tech Summit. Amazing opportunity, having been 5 years at Google. I was invited on stage with 72 countries, people attending, so it was over, I think, 60-70% people abroad came to the event. 250 speakers. I was one of those first ones, and I was on stage with C-levels, people who have companies like Zigio, Grabio, and Firebase. So a lot of these were talking about video content and how that's growing on mobile. So we expect 78% of mobile consumption happening through video. And content I was talking about has to be snackable through bumper ads because human attention span is shrinking. And actually made it some top takeaways. I had interviews and I had people, writing about this, and that was really cool too. It was one of the top 5 takeaways about curating content. Not just marketing is more than just about buying media. It's also about the customer experience you deliver on your website and in-app. So yeah, that's what I do. Thanks, Carl. I go to agencies like here in London, working on improving mobile web experience for customers so that we delight customers and businesses win also. Also, I have passion for startups, so that's actually in Shoreditch, working with many VC-funded companies who are really agile and great to work with because they are open to ideas and they want their business to succeed. Can anyone tell me how short the human attention span is in present day? Spot on. Someone said 3 seconds. So back in 2000, human attention span was at 12 seconds. Today, we have, on average, a 3 to 5 second attention span. So that means, from a mobile-first perspective, if you're loading your pages in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, you're losing customers. They're bouncing from your website. We've shrank to less of a goldfish, our attention span. And for that reason, we have mobile-first indexing, which began in March. This has been rolling out, and this is not to be confused with the speed signal that's been integrated into SEO results. But it means that we crawl your mobile site first, right? So whatever content you have there, we're looking for structured, the snippet data, the metadata, because people have moved away from desktop, as we know, and more than 50% of queries come through the Google search on mobile. So we're trying to create mobile first experiences and designing for that, and a lot of businesses have taken desktop and plonked that onto mobile, which is not a mobile-first experience. Even redesigns, it's still not delivering on what mobile-first means. So what does it mean then, if it's not mobile-first? We need to think about the users, as Carl mentioned, and user experience. I mean, I'm a mobile UX specialist. What does that mean? It means that we're focused on not just the look and feel, but the usability of the website. So site speed and ease of use are time and time again the things that people tell us they care about the most. And usability is more UI, user interface. Can I actually do what I want to do? Whereas the look and feel is actually, was it a great website? Did I think it was a brilliant web? Can I go back to that one again? I will. Like, I use a fingerprint to touch. Here's some brilliant links that I wanted to share for travel, retail, finance. Hopefully a lot of people in this room have that kind of business. And you can actually apply the best principles of design according to this. It takes you full funnel. Okay, if that's not enough, I love data. And I hope you do too. Because if you can't measure, you cannot improve. And we've heard that so many times. But if you're not using the insights, so many people, I'm measuring, I'm reporting. What are you doing with the data? Are you actually using it? So this is a brilliant report designed by my colleague, Damla, in the MTT. We call it Damla Dash because it's her dashboard. But there's external link here. If you want to take a picture, you can use it. You plug in your GA data. It's amazing. And it looks at, from the first session, the interaction you have. Is it sticking? Is your traffic? You identify your problems. Is it staying compared to desktop? What's the bounce rate like? Are people engaging with my site? Or is my text too small? Is it less than 16 pixels? They have to pinch. You find out all of this. Are users not returning? Am I not offering a good mobile experience? And then right down to what everyone cares about, conversions. How well are they converting on mobile? And are they seeing your website on a flaky network connection? Can they access you offline? Because people expect that these days as well. So that's what the report looks like. It's very easy to kind of go through, looking at top landing pages, bounce rate, sessions as well. And I have a step-by-step guide here, which I won't go through, but very straightforward to use. Okay. We do design sprints at Google all the time. It's a new kind of concept from Google Ventures, and a lot of people have probably heard of it, but it's a new concept that we've scaled in our business. And that's really, this is taken from New York back in March, where I walked into the room and we were talking about conversion rate optimization best practices, focused on conversion rate at the checkout, specifically for retail. And we have many, guidelines, I guess, but the key for this is that you should be A/B testing these ideas and see, is it working for your business? But we've gathered all of that research and compiled that into the playbooks that I just shared with you as well. So what makes good user experience? Well, ask your customer. It seems basic, right? But how many of us are actually doing that? There are businesses out there that are actually paying people in Aer Lingus. If I'm in the airport today, they might come up to me and say, hey, here's a context. Would you mind just doing this? Can you have 300 euros to spend and go to Lanzarote? Can you do that? And it should be your target market. And find 5 people. That's what we say. One is not enough, right? But you eliminate the bottlenecks that way. And a design sprint is really, this is a great book by Jake Knapp. It's a way to kind of map, sketch, decide on what are the best ideas, but with dots, all on Post-it notes. And then prototype. Test that prototype and see what you find. So that's the only way that we learn and improve. And this is Google's mantra: focus on the user, all else will follow. How many businesses are doing that out there? I'm going to show you now in a second. It's a hyper-connected world that we live in. We have attention spans that are shrinking. Everyone's on mobiles, everyone's on laptops, you can use tablets, whatever. And we know that this means that reach is not the problem, right? Everyone can reach. I can reach you with my mobile site. I can have a desktop site, whatever. But the problem that we do have is attention and engagement. That's where we're losing the battle, right? And the reason I say this is because we have more smartphones in this world than ever before, right? 3.5 billion smartphones. That's not a figure to kind of scoff at. And we spend more than 3 hours a day on a mobile. And the sessions that we do are usually short flurries or bursts of activity, 30-second bursts, on an average tapping a phone 32 times per use. We know that we constantly check our phones. We all do this, 80 times on average. I think when Carl presented 3 years ago, it was around the 60 mark, right? Or 50 mark. It's gone up 30 times. And this is for both Android and iOS studies we've done. Brilliant YouTube link here from Luke Robluski. If you want to have a look, just Google conversions at Google, and you'll find an hour-long presentation on this. So 3.5 billion, cool. Tell me more. Where's that coming from? Smartphone penetration. We can see that, in the mature markets, UK, who I deal with, 70% nearly, Germany and US, it's all nearly a 70% mark. However, in the BRICS countries, you can see, like Brazil, India, China, all of these countries, you can see that there's so much headroom to grow. Only 22% in India, and there's a massive population there who are not connected yet. There's so much opportunity. And by 2023, we think there's going to be 5 billion active smartphones in this world. For Ireland, this is what smartphone penetration looks like, present day. We have about 74% of our market penetrate. So people actually have smartphone in their hands. And by 2023, again, a 5-year vision, we can see this surpassing 80%. Amazing, right? That's a huge amount of people in Ireland. That equates to nearly 4 million, by the way. 4 million people in Ireland. But what has that actually done to our user then? Because I talked about user experience. This is what it has done. Technology disrupts, right? Technology disrupts. We know that consumer expectations have evolved completely. We know that they're now curious. So that means while I want to avoid the best, I want to avoid the worst, I also want to find the best toothbrush, right? The smallest things matter, as well as the big ticket items, right? So, I might be looking for best engagement ring, worst engagement ring. I don't want to make a poor informed decision. So you're far more empowered now as a mobile user. We all know this. And then we're demanding. So we expect people, the website to recognize us. Or is it personal to me? Is it I suppose, clothes that I bought before, similar to what I like? And even with less effort. So for searches that I'm looking for best restaurant, best bar, best place to buy this, expect near me, because you're from your geolocation. We don't have to type that. And impatient, we started with this about capturing attention from search. we want instant load experiences. And we also expect the ability to act right now. So if I'm looking for, I don't know, those swimming togs before I go on that holiday next week, I need express delivery. I want next day delivery. And also, I want to know your operating hours, your store opening hours, and I want to see customer reviews all up front. So it's flipped industries on its head. Like, that's what it's done. Mobile has taken a traditional offline industry. If we look at media as well, it's gone the other way. And here's a mixture from US and the UK, where we see that video, music, we don't buy CD-ROMs anymore. We stream music online. Video, we're consuming that online. And most of the time we're on mobile. Some people look on desktop. Global time spent on the internet, you can see that surging, and less time watching TV. We're cord cutters. We're the Netflix generation. And then US, I suppose, households, and I could relate to this too, we don't have a landline phone anymore. Mobiles are just growing, right? And also people buying tech and less apparel. Okay, so average time is spent and the engagement is increasing, both of those things. More smartphones, time spent, and engagement. They're all increasing. And you can see this steadily throughout the years up to 2018, where it's over 3 hours, as I said now, on average. And you can see where it shrank, obviously desktop, and then we can see actually other connected devices increasing a little bit, the Internet of Things. And so that's a really interesting report to dig into with eMarketer. And this is from senior forecasting analysts. I would definitely recommend reviewing. So when technology around the world is changing, and more rapidly than ever, are our business adapting? Are we? I mean, we have calls and we talk about site speed and we talk about UX and we talk about technology. But sometimes, I talk to advertisers or agencies and they say, yeah, no, the client's not ready to build a website yet. They just want to keep it as it is. No, you can't. If you're looking to be successful tomorrow or give you an edge, you have to keep up. People are talking to their phones. They're researching in your store. You're losing business this way. If you're not adapting, you're not competing. And we can see when we look at assistants, we've moved from this age of instant into this age of assistants. So this is a definition, textbook definition, helping people to get things done, right? We all know what assistance means. From a digital marketing perspective, it means focusing on understanding what people want and helping them throughout that customer journey to succeed in what they want to do. Okay, and we all have heard of personal assistant. We actually had a big announcement at I/O, but really, we've integrated this with a lot of our products. So can anyone tell me what this is? Google Home, right? But what do we call them in general? Smart speakers or speaker bots, or there's all kinds of names. But really, it's just smart, yeah, exactly. So we're actually connected to these systems where we're speaking to them, right? We're connected to more things than ever before. It's conversational. We're asking, what's the weather like? What's the time? Play some music for me. My own dad thinks it's amazing that he likes classical music, and it played him back, similar classical music songs from machine learning. It's not by coincidence, right? It's like when you go on Netflix, it knows what you would like to watch based on previous watch history. Okay, so this is happening. I'm seeing more and more of this we're probably all seeing this in our own homes. So how are we engaging with it? People want to make Google do it. I took that picture myself in New York. They're advertising for it now. People in America are massively using this, and it's only going to grow that way. And at the I/O I mentioned, we made huge movements on this. So there's a link here which explains everything about actions on Google. And developers are actually only now getting to kind of look at this. And I've had more and more queries around the assistant and like how do I get a search strategy built around this? But definitely go to this link and look at how you can help build that future-proof your business with the assistant. And there's many, many things we can do, from booking tickets, of course, buying flowers, but even booking appointments. And at this point, I just want to play a video. This is from Sundar Pichai at the Google I/O.
So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second. Sure. What time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a woman's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
Right. I don't know about you, but that kind of spooked me a little. I wasn't sure who was the robot and who was... Yeah, I can see a few nodding heads. But I mean, that's a new thing, right? Where we call it Google Duplex. And that's something that people are looking to do, is just do less, right? Make it easier for me. You know, I ordered those cinema tickets for my family. I had 4 kids. Would you like a family-friendly movie? Yes. Do you want 4 tickets? Yes, buy it. Yes, done. And that's what people are going to get towards once you have personal assistant and this strategy in place. Fortunately at Google, as I said, we've always had this mantra, or it's been in our DNA. And you can see it from 2 products that obviously I feel very proud of is working for this company. Search, instant experience there. Show me recipes for pancakes, and boom, you see images and content there, and it's less than 1 second. And we've innovated in that space with top carousels. Never before could you swipe between articles so you can engage more. And there's amazing things being quick through search. Being useful. When you're using maps, when you're lost, of course, this comes to mind. I'm looking for a sushi restaurant, but I can see star ratings, so like the customer reviews, how pricey it is, opening hours, fastest route. We bought, Waze, which is helping us with the traffic circulation. And now, more recently, which is the future, and making it a bit more personal, because we took feedback from our customer, is this type of integration. It's a fox, right? It's a bit funny. It's a bit friendly. It's warm. It's making it more human, and it's helping us to navigate. So integrating AR and your geolocation to help you navigate better. But it's fun, right? And it came from a concept of 2D designers that made it 3D, and expect to see that in the map experience very soon. And also we have Google Lens, which is changing the game as well. So anyone ever done this where you're on a street and you walk and you don't know which way you're going, and you do this kind of thing where you're like, how annoying is that? I've done it myself and I feel really stupid. And so many other customers told us this too. But now you don't have to do that. You literally just show your phone at the building and it will show you that route, as you can see here. It will tell you what that building is. It will tell you what this poster is. It's amazing what Lens is going to be able to help us to do. But that's about making it helpful and assisting people. Okay then, so yeah, and we can see here, the lightest traffic routes I mentioned from acquiring Waze, and even skeleton screens here that make it appear like it's a fast experience. If anyone has heard of those skeleton screens. Okay, this is how many brands out there are making it helpful or useful for businesses. 1/3. So if I was to take just this 1/3 of the room, sorry guys, you're not helpful to anyone. I know you're all trying to do business, but they're the only helpful people in this room, this column here. It's scary, and we need to move because customers feel like that. Where the hell am I? Like, I'm on this website and I just can't do what I want to do. It's frustrating me. I actually don't enjoy this experience. I'll never return. I'll probably tell my friend Carl, don't book through Aer Lingus. Get their app. It's terrible, or whatever, And that's how word of mouth spreads like that. But we're not focused on users, so you need to put your user caps on and think about all of these different experiences, from general browsing to digital advertising to search, because those are all very different experiences, aren't they? It's a very different experience. General browsing, I'm just looking at recipes for food. I'm not looking to buy. I'm just looking for information But we have emerging expectations, that's for sure. 41% of us expect the experience to reflect what I like. Like I said, personalize it. Is this clothing that I might like? I bought these trousers before. I bought this jacket. Is this something I might buy? And then we also want to be personally recognized. So booking.com, if anyone uses it. Hello, Connor. Here are other holidays I have for you. I mean, that's nice. It's not creepy. Like, people want that. And there is this privacy paradox where, of course, there's a dispute on what's personal and where's the line. But we do have more emerging expectations about online experiences. We reflect to show what we bought, 33%. So that's a third of users, plus 31% want messages to be based on where they are and what they're doing. And this is all research from our research manager in London, by the way. This is all from that market, but a lot of it would be applicable to Ireland, of course. People navigate away. That happens all the time if it's terrible on the website. Just leave it, I'm done. So there's too many hoops, I can't do what I'm trying to do. And from digital marketing, that's a very old stat that I did not want to bring up today because it's double-click research, but many people have heard 53% of traffic bounce after 3 seconds. But those are established. This is happening right now. This is not what we can compromise on. These are a prerequisite. Users expect the content to appear at the right time. They also want their brands to be easy to find, so 64%, that's a big proportion. And plus the very last one, which I think you should not ignore, is 70% of users expect to get things done in as few steps possible. Think back to the assistant. How easy is it to do with a personal assistant? That's what the hierarchy of needs looks like in our mobile world at the moment. In this age of instant, you need to be quick. If your site's not delivering less than 1 second load time, right, let's not move to make it easy then. If we're trying to make it easy, few steps as possible. Look at the user interface. Favorite products, easy to find. Are you serving content relevant to me? And then the very last part, which we are optimizing the mobile experience for, removing friction, is predicting what you might like and also recognizing what you bought before serving that in-the-moment content. Okay. Consumer experiences are happening every second, every day, one step at a time. And the table stakes are very high because if we don't deliver on those, as I said, we move away. And 62% of people believe that that is a negative experience. I'm less likely. I'm just not going to buy from that website. Or in the future, that could be your one chance. First-time user acquisition, and it's gone. And we know that in terms of stress, cognitive load time is actually higher, as you can see here, than watching a horror movie based on this research we have from Ericsson. So I'm not a fan of horror movies personally, but it is an emotional experience. But people actually say it's more than waiting in line in a queue. It's right up there with solving a maths problem for anyone who's not very good at maths. Okay, but conversion rates, which is what you care about, they flatline after 3 to 5 seconds. You can see there, we literally just drop off the cliff. Conversion rates drop every second of load time that's increased. I've done enough talking about, I suppose, the load time, user experience, and Carl mentioned the site speed signal in July. And this is a very good moment to pause then, because it's now June 1st. That's 1 month away. And I've been talking about this for a while now with a lot of my advertisers, and GDPR was obviously one thing, and then it's now scrambling for this. So what does this mean? This is from TechCrunch in January, telling people we will be demoting slow landing pages. We've been going on about it time and time again, but this is for SEO results. And there's this new bar for mobile experiences. Think of FIRE. That's the acronym FIRE. So fast, integrated, or intuitive, and reliable and engaging. So that's what the design we're looking for mobile. And there's a really great resource here as well for developers who are interested in how do we deliver on fast, because there's just so many people talking about speed. I'm going to make it very simple for you. Here are many tools that I use every day. On the bottom here with Speed Scorecard, which was mentioned at the Mobile World Congress in February, and Impact Calculator, they're brilliant marketing tools to understand speed, right? The bottom two. For developers, obviously Chrome developer tools, webpagetest.org, and Lighthouse Audit, which is in Chrome Dev, is brilliant for optimizing sites. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. Questions, like people are always asking me, what do I use? What's the best metric? How do I do it? Here's a great link that kind of makes sense for you. Of course, I don't have time to go through everyone in great depth today, but this should break it down for you about what tools should you use according to each situation. Because you can simulate environments, but real user data is obviously important as well. Speed Scorecard I mentioned, which is amazing, where you plug in your brand and see how you compare against others. We recommend you do this. It's basically, you can toggle for Ireland, of course, 4G, 3G, and see where you stack up, right? How am I doing against that competition? And if that's not enough to convince your owner, what about revenue? try and tie this to some sort of revenue. And we have this from plugging in your GA data, looking at your average monthly users, their average order value, and then trying to look at the conversion rate you're currently seeing plus the current load time, and then toggle to see how much potential revenue you could earn or you could lose. So webpagetest.org, for anyone that hasn't heard of it, is what I'd recommend for your developers after today. And you simulate the tests on a fast 3G connection, as you can see done here. Run 3 tests and simulate this or emulate it on a mobile web browser. And test in the user location that your users are based. And what we get is a report, a performance report. You can look at waterfall, which would be more for a developer, but you should focus on the speed index because that's how visible your content loads above the fold. What a user will see first on mobile who are not on Wi-Fi. We're looking at 3G. We're looking at people who don't have cached items in their browser. And we recommend having less than 100 resource requests because we're not connected to a powerful laptop. We're connected to a performance-constrained device, and we recommend page weight is light. So lots of fancy images, carousels, JavaScript, all of this. This impedes speed. But don't take it from me. Take it from Lighthouse. Lighthouse is a brilliant tool that does audits for your whole website, where it will actually look at SEO, accessibility, it will look at PWA, and it will also look at performance, which is what everything we've talked about today. And you can also download this as a plugin in Chrome, or you can just right-click and inspect, as it's shown here. It's very straightforward. You click Audits tab, and you perform an audit, and you have your full report then. And it gives you something like this. And at the top, you can see scores out of 100. Again, more scores, I know, but these are relevant to each individual area: SEO, performance, progressive web app. And performance, you want to get as close to above 80 anyway, but as close to 100 as possible. And it will show you how your screen is visually rendering. So this is for Flipkart. You can see they've got a good first meaningful paint, but the first interactive, when their site becomes usable, is not great. And then consistently interactive, well, it's indicating poor because it's in red. But that doesn't tell me much. What does? The visual metrics, of course, we read into this, but how can I optimize for it? Let's just explain what those metrics mean. Here's the opportunities. What is slowing your site down? Is it off-screen images? Is it properly? Are you sizing the images properly? Are they compressed? Usually JavaScript and CSS comes up all the time, but this is just from that report. So I'd recommend you do it. It toggles for fast 3G as well. You need to be lightning quick, and here's how you do it. A speed checklist. My colleague, who's a developer, we work with clients every day, and we assess the waterfall through webpage tests. I always direct them to this resource. It's brilliant in that it breaks down every roadblock that you see and shows you how through video tutorials, code labs, everything. So you couldn't use this resource yourself. Okay, and if you can't optimize your current website, redesign it, or make it mobile first and fast, this is a great alternative as a landing page solution. And it's a brilliant framework. A lot of people in the room probably have heard of AMP. It's not just for publishers. We have whole retail businesses built out on AMP. And yeah, it delivers on lightning fast. So it's guaranteeing your speed. Okay, and there's a link here for ampproject.org. So over 60% of Google search now goes to non-news sites. And I found that quite fascinating when I discussed this with, as a solution to businesses who say, oh, it's just for publishers, isn't it? No, that was 3 or 4 years ago when we just, as an open source project, 2015, where we said, look, this will work for publishers. But now eBay have 150 million AMP live pages. Zalando are using it for their business, and Eventbrite for selling tickets. And when we look at AMP, the best-in-class example, I would say AliExpress is one brilliant one, where it leverages components instead of JavaScript, which is the usual way of coding. You have AMP bind, you have AMP animation, carousels. You can do a lot what you're trying to do with your current website through AMP components. It's just a new way to code, but it's an important way if we're not able to get our websites quick enough for users. And it's 85% of those pages we see are faster than standard. So like currently what some people have, we're able to deliver that faster with AMP. So the first impression matters, but equally so the last. So what do I mean by that? The checkout is your last opportunity if you're a retailer to say, yeah, come back and buy. You enjoyed this experience, hopefully you buy from us again. But a lot of people are not doing that. With 2 billion mobile e-commerce transactions happening, long checkouts are one of the leading causes of abandonment rate. And what I mean, to put this into a figure, from Baymard Institute, we see 70% of people drop off. Too many steps. We've probably all been there ourselves. I'd say a lot of people in this room have left stuff that they just couldn't do on mobile, where 40% of users do want to convert through mobile. It's just that the speed, the UX is just not there. And that's why, right? To me, I see 1, 2, 3, I have 6 screen loads that span scripts. So 6 screen loads, about 20 fields there. A lot of work, right? There's just a lot of work. And I don't know about you, but I make mistakes on mobile a lot of the time. It's not very easy sometimes, the way these websites are designed. And that's, not going to check out those shoes. So that takes over 3 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes longer, 120 taps. Right, it seems like a long time to me on mobile. Whereas, I'm talking about a fingerprint. That's how some businesses are offering. Just three taps, 30 seconds. And we should be making checkouts seamless. So by that I mean having a progress bar at the top, showing steps 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see, or at Petco, that I'm motivated to complete what I came to do. Eliminating the necessary fields. Why do we have first and last name? Like, we can merge those. Or thinking less taps for the users in terms of Chrome autofill, like, are you leveraging that? Or do I have to swap between numerical and alphabetical when I'm on a mobile? So these are all basic things, but you'd be surprised the amount of businesses that are not looking at that, right? So I recommend reviewing. And we even have new APIs, or we have payments systems like GPay and Apple Pay, which you're familiar with, and PayPal. So I want to see it in the room. A show of hands, who's using PayPal? It's a matter of interest. Okay, yeah, a lot, yeah. And then Apple Pay. Okay, and anyone using GPay? Okay, right. So there's a lot of people are leveraging some of this, but not all. We need to give the consumer choice, and that comes down to device they're using as well. If you see a large proportion of your sessions coming through iOS, of course, Apple Pay makes a huge amount of sense. A lot of people have this set up. If it's GPay, Android users, like I talk to business, say I'm 80% iOS, right? You need to look at the solution that works for your business to improve your conversions. So yeah, so like buying that pair of Nike shoes, like it should be fast with this AMP page, and checking out like this. This is for a ticket, but you get the idea. It's very straightforward to buy. Okay, and how is that? Well, we have millions of cards on file, and they're saved from Google accounts where people have chosen to have those details saved and they want to use those. So why aren't we doing it? And so then finally, PWA. Again, just because have engagement. PWA, has anyone heard of this? Anyone using it? Any progressive web apps in the audience? Any apps in the audience? Native mobile apps, just applications, a few. Some people are scared to show their hands. Okay, so progressive web app is the future. If you haven't heard of this, if I go back to Lighthouse, what I was talking about earlier, this is how you can check, are you developing a progressive web app performance? And I think it's a brilliant way because I talked about reach of mobile as opposed to apps. And I'm going to go into that now in a second, why I believe, and there's a constant debate about this with all kind of web developers in the community. So speed, it delivers on speed. This is actually one of my clients from a year ago, as you can see, dating back June 2017, published in Think with Google, where they reduced their speeds and the page weight, everything, by 3 times. I think it went from 9 seconds down to 3, which isn't bad, considering I was hoping they'd be less than 5. And we also saw conversion rates lift, we saw user engagement lift, and it was brilliant for their business. They were thinking of future-proofing their business. Now, why did they do that? Well, a lot of mobile sessions were coming through, a lot of users were coming through mobile. Their sessions, their first-time users were coming through mobile, not their loyal users, which everyone has in their app. And 13% of people spend most of their time on mobile, whereas obviously if it's mobile apps, we spend more time in them. They are built for mobile. They're designed mobile first. They're fast. That's why people use apps. And they're visible on your home screen. Like I use travel apps a lot. You constantly go there. It's there on your home screen. They're engaging. They can send you push notifications. That's something that it has over mobile web, because I can break my session if it was a poor experience, but I might never return. But if I have the app, I can re-engage. And so the reach of the mobile web remains stronger. That's the key point. The reach of it is remaining stronger with more unique visitors coming every month, but average time, of course, is spent more in-app. However, when we look at this kind of battle that's going on between a native mobile app and progressive web apps, where we see web apps winning, or progressive web apps, is that it's not winning. It's really kind of in the middle. It's a fusion of both combining the reach of the mobile web and the functionality or the capabilities of native mobile apps, right? To get your head around that, it's basically features. So what a mobile app can do, your mobile website can do also. Okay, so speed, it delivers on that. Offline, I'm browsing on the tube or wherever, no network connectivity, I can still offer an experience there. Adding to home screen, I can do that, but doesn't require a lot of data. And push notifications, if I want to do that, I can, because they've actually added to the home screen. And it sits there, as I said, between reach and features. It's right in the middle, and it actually is a great way if you're not, don't have the time or the resources to invest in a mobile app on its own. That this is a solution for you. Okay, what does it look like? I see no difference. There really is no difference in how it looks or feels. You can deliver a progressive web app experience that feels like a native mobile app, as you can see here. And businesses that have done this, I'm going to give you a few now. Pinterest, they increased their time to first interactive from 26 seconds to 5. That meant that people could actually use their website in 5. And what did it do? People spent more time on the site. People generated more ad revenue, and then click-throughs. Of course, people clicked through more because it was easier to use, and the engagement rate went up. All the metrics that matter for mobile improved. So the add to home screen, I've actually added a bit of code as well, how to do some of this stuff. Not that, I have a colleague who says you can do this in a day. Adding to home screen probably is the most basic thing you could do, and then maybe showing some sort of cached items on your progressive web app. The other things we spoke about, like push notifications, things like that, that's a bit more tricky, complex, requires more time. But Trivago actually improved their engagement by using this add to home screen. It increased by 150%. And they're future-proofing for the next 1 billion users. That's where they've invested. So it looks like this. Alibaba have one too. Twitter, if people use Twitter, Twitter Lite have one. There's a few companies that are out there using it. And when Twitter used it, users came back. 1 million daily visits from home screen. 75% increase in tweets. People are using this. And 65% in the pages per session. It's pretty impressive stuff. So push notifications, I'm pretty sure everyone in this room knows by being here. These can pop up on your phone anytime. It can be sent to people when they're not even using your app. But it brings you back. You can see here a news site, see what you've been missing. See all the news you've missed. They're testing different messages to see what's working to bring users back. And yeah, they're timely. So in terms of business sense, progressive web app makes amazing logical sense for when you have, I don't know, some stock back in order, right? So someone wanted to get a pair of swimming togs in this size and that color, but they weren't in stock. But you inform them, so you don't lose on that business. You didn't just walk away. Abandoned cart's the same. You can say, hey, here's a discount. Or if you don't want, you can promote just other offers you have on. So summer, spring sale offers. And they're timely, they're precise, actionable, and they're relevant. And as I said, no one likes to see this dinosaur experience. I only get that when I'm on a plane, on airplane mode. But the amount of businesses that have this experience on mobile users, I'd say there's a huge amount in Ireland, but the UK markets, they're all growing to provide something there at least, something cached. So in my case with Settled, it was homeowners trying to buy, and they were able to scroll through the homes that they were looking at so they can pick it up and actually, when they came online, purchase, or to list their home rather. And for buying items, it could be that, it's now back. I'm back online, and I can actually purchase this from the cash assets I've seen, maybe the dresses, whatever you're looking at. You can then buy it when you're online. Lancome have seen this actually work for them from those push notifications. Nearly 10% made a purchase, and 20%, so that's a fifth, from push notifications opened them. Right, so that's quite a lot of people. Plus the conversion rates were recovered on the abandoned carts that we just mentioned, 12%. Job to me as well, increase in engagement, again, page load time reduced, and mobile monetization, it all went up. Case studies are here. So yes, I've left a resource here about reading offline best practices, how you can track this, because that's always something that someone asks me is like, can you track this, Conor? Of course you can in GA. There's ways to do this. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks so much, Conor. So I think fantastic presentation. You covered so much ground in it. I saw everybody scribbling, taking photos, trying to capture it before we went on the next slide. So I should say, first of all, if you want to watch the presentation back, it will be on YouTube next week. So it's the channel is Google the and symbol and YouTube. So Google and YouTube Ireland, and you'll find the presentation there. If you want to get the actual links as well yourself that Conor went through, because again, there were so many fantastic links and resources in there. When the feedback form goes out, give us your feedback, and we'll give you the links. It's a fair trade. Okay, so lastly, I should say as well, before we do the Q&A, if you do have questions, but you're perhaps not comfortable sharing it in front of the audience, as usual, we'll have our experts outside as well. So we'll have Jen, who's our search expert. We're going to have Conrado, who is our Google Analytics expert, and we're also going to have a shopping expert who has slipped my mind. Paul, thank you very much, Lindy. Paul's outside as well. So if you do have questions in those areas, you can speak to the guys outside. So to that point, while Conor's still here on stage, does anybody have specific questions about everything that we've just gone through there? Any particular topics? I see a gentleman right here in the middle.
Sure, yeah. Please.
Conor, hi. Patrick
Hi.
Crawford's my name. That was a brilliant presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were talking about the importance of speed.
Yeah.
How does the indexing work with native apps, or does it actually work with native apps at all?
No. Good question. So we don't look at native apps. For the mobile web experience I mentioned earlier on, we look at mobile first indexing. So that's crawling, Googlebot crawls your content. And then for the speed index, which I was talking about, there's many metrics I mentioned about speed. What I would recommend is go to the resource that I provided, just to look at I suppose, a combination of speed metrics, but we're focusing on mobile websites, not your app, separate.
Sorry, what do native apps have that progressive web apps do not have?
And I'm glad you asked me that question, because I was working with a retailer in London who are developing this, and there is some limited functionality to a progressive web app that obviously a native mobile app can do. So, native apps have to have voice enabled. So you have to have your geolocation enabled. You have to have various things enabled. To answer your question, caniuse.com gives a good overview of what you can and cannot do with a progressive web app. But as I said, it's the future. More and more browsers are supporting the functionality. It's the same like accelerated mobile pages where there's been more functionality. So you should be able to find out more there. Thank you. No worries.
Any other questions?
Don't be shy.
Just throw your hand up. Conor, I might ask you just while people are maybe thinking of one. You went through an awful lot of content there, and there was a huge amount between mobile apps, user experience, site speed. If there's one takeaway that you could ask everyone in the room, because we try and make the breakfast briefings as actionable, I suppose, for business as we can. If there was one thing that every business could take away from this, and one thing they could do when they go back to the office, what would that be from your point of view?
I wish I could say more than one thing. I think it's care about the entire mobile user experience. That's the one thing. Focus on your user. And by that one resource, like actionable, I'd be going straight to webpagetest.org. That's one thing I'd be looking at. Or Lighthouse, one of those tools. And just actually auditing it and building that into your culture of the business. Because a lot of people test for site speed every now and again, but sometimes it's like, is there a performance budget? So to have a performance budget for speed, that's what my one thing would be. Just concretely, we do not exceed 1 megabyte of data, less than 100 requests, and speed index less than 5,000. That should help.
Brilliant, thank you. So any other questions, guys? One actually just behind you there, and then we'll go up again.
Yeah, I'd agree. Great presentation.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned ASOS. Do you have any other examples that we can look at and say that gives a brilliant, mobile experience? And if you have an Irish example as well, that would be helpful.
It's funny you asked me that because before today I actually had run some lighthouse reports of my own in the Irish market, and I asked if Carl could I present these. And it wasn't very flattering for some top businesses out there. And it's really because people are designed for desktop. I can share, of course, with you best mobile UI. I can share, if we can connect afterwards, I can share a list of them for you to replicate. But there's companies out there leveraging PWA, like Flipkart. We have Trivago. There's many. WeGo are using PWAs. I can share a list afterwards as well if you'd like a list of them.
Yeah, cool.
Can't share in Ireland, I'm sorry.
There's a gentleman just over your left shoulder there. Yeah, thank you.
How you doing? It seems like you're still pushing for mobile-only sites as opposed to mobile-optimized, which is what a lot of the people will be generally using.
No, so we're not pushing for mobile only. I think we're trying to. I talked about a lot about Internet of Things, connected devices. Your question that was asked about the speed index and content. We crawl for content. We look at not mobile only. If you don't have a mobile-friendly version of your website, we'll look at desktop. But we're looking at websites that already have best practices integrated, and that's what we're indexing on. It started happening in March. It's going to continue to roll out with the speed change in July. That's going to have more impact, and we also should see more happening, I'm sure, with advertising as well.
Yeah, because the mobile optimizer is still very much for search during the day, where the actual purchase is made on desktop at home. It's still getting difficult to move away from that.
It's fragmented, yeah. So a lot of research, I didn't go into today, but a lot of research happens on mobile first, cross device, and people watch YouTube and go through other channels. But then it's even more important to optimize all of your assets. I'm a mobile specialist, but I see desktop shrinking, tablet not growing so much either, mainly mobile growing. So that means that is the area that you should really be getting behind if that's what you're seeing for your business.
I think I might just add to that one point as well. I think it's important to note as well that I think we've moved away from it just being desktop research or mobile research and desktop purchase. So even last year, if you'd asked me the stats where 1 in 3 of us were making purchases on our phone, it's probably getting closer to 1 in 2 now. So we have evolved from the stage of I'm doing my research on the Dart and then I'm going home making the purchase on my desktop. We're actually doing the buying on our phones as well now. So that's a consideration as well.
I failed to mention as well that half or a third of mobile apps are used on our phones. So people don't use them. The LTV is very low. After 90 days, if it's not a great app, you don't return. It's mainly gaming apps that you can see there. A lot of people spending time in.
Okay, time for one more question, if anyone has them. Just right in front of you there.
You're right in the middle, yeah.
So going back to the Ireland market, would you then suggest different benchmarks than what you proposed for the other, like page load speed, like page time, page load, all that things, because they are a little bit behind?
No, not at all. In fact, I think you should be getting ahead now. So I understand your point. Like the penetration is there, right? It's nearly 3/4 right now. And if we're not on Wi-Fi connection and we're not on fast 3G or 4G, we don't have 5G in Ireland. I haven't seen it yet, but it will be coming. So you can say, worst case scenario, people are accessing your mobile site on a 3G, fast 3G connection. And if it's not loading in that speed index, it's offering a bad feel of speed for your user.
How would you explain that if you have a client with smaller budgets, though?
With small budgets, I think, like I talk to startups, VC-funded companies, and they understand that they need to get this right now, because if that's where all their new user growth is coming from, you're missing out on a lot of the new user growth. And I would go back to the data, the business data from the Damla Dash, the Data Studio report. I think it was like in my first 2 or 3 slides to actually show them their bounce rate, the retention, everything else that matters.
Okay, thanks.
No worries.
Brilliant. Conor, thank you very much for your time. Can we get a round of applause, everybody, for Conor?
All right. Thank you.